The thing about women is they can be very hard to understand. They may say one thing, but mean something completely different. Tell me I'm wrong. Like when they say, don't touch my truck. What they really mean is, I want a Whipple supercharger.
Holy crap, let's go!
When they say, don't you dare touch my Corvette, what she really means is, I want a race car. And babe, your wish is my command. But what started out as a fun, secretive project took multiple unexpected turns. We fought the good fight. Turns out there's a reason race cars are difficult to build and insanely expensive. Let's hope this one pays off. Here we go. This thing's gonna be wild. This is a 2004 Corvette, and it's been in the family forever. Previously owned by my wife's father, now driven by my wife. And before we owned it, it had the cliche Corvette experience. Washed every weekend, kept in the garage, never put anything but GM moving parts on it. The thought of modifying it would have never crossed its mind. It was a gem. But then the lady in the SUV just didn't look. And just like that, the car was totaled. And as you can imagine, my father-in-law shattered. The only thing he could do was to move on. Well, lucky for him, insert sweaty Hawaiian redneck that watches way too much Matt Armstrong YouTube videos, bought it back from State Farm, repaired it, put it back on the road, 6-speed manual, LS1, one owner, salvage title Corvette, the perfect recipe for an idiot like me. Because we're keeping this thing in the family. There's a reason why we are doing what we are doing in today's video to my wife's car in its entirety. It's a lot. It could go amazing or it could go horribly wrong. There's a big event coming up in just a few weeks, which we got invited out to. I'm absolutely honored to be a part of. So we are going all in with the C5 Corvette, which could go amazing or it could end up with this car parked next to that one. We'll tell you more about that event here in just a second. So I've actually never pulled a data log with this car. And I've never pulled a tune file off of it, which is a mistake I made with the Silverado when I decided to do that full DFM delete. So what we are doing here is just checking the current health of the car. Now before we get too far into today's video, I am not an expert in any of this. I am an average Joe, overconfident do-it-yourselfer. So take anything I might say today or do with a grain of salt. And who knew for a cam swap, the tools you need are at Home Depot. Wooden dowels. These are the cheapest tools we have bought for this project. Hasn't been cheap already. Well, we got our lifter keeper uppers, but we also invested in a new tool. Winner! We did learn our lesson the hard way doing the 2020 Silverado. And it just about broke me. Finally pulled the trigger on a high torque impact. All right, I think we're set with the tools that we need. We have a few more things coming in from Texas Speed as well as Summit Racing to complete what's going under here. We also did a few more wide open throttle pulls, and it looks like there's quite a bit of knock on this setup. Y'all done? You know what, out of my two boys, I'm fairly confident number 2 is gonna be the gearhead out of the bunch. I think we may be getting just a little bit lean. So this red line is the knock retard. So essentially if the car detects any knock pre-detonation pinging, it'll kind of retard the timing to keep it from continuing to knock. And I am still learning this. I'm just super excited to be doing this type of stuff. And I want you guys to learn along with me. So we got up to about 6,000 RPM, 6,100 RPM. And this red line, yeah, that's pretty significant. But I'm pretty sure it's getting a little bit lean, which is causing it to knock. With the aftermarket intake and aftermarket exhaust, I think the car is getting a little bit more air than fuel, and fuel's not keeping up based on the stock tune. But that's all coming to an end. We have a ton of stuff the car's getting today. My overflow is leaking. I think we're gonna find a lot of weak spots in between now and our California trip. We better find them fast because that trip's coming up very soon. These things are heavy. So. Come on! NITTO tires! Stay, don't fall. This, all of that, it's gotta go. This is something I've always wanted to do with this car. We finally had an excuse to do it. NITTO Tire and the driving line invited us out to join them in California to compete in an event. I felt this C5 would be our best bet at it. My wife agreed to taking her car, but didn't know I was going to go to this extent, completely tearing it down and rebuilding it for the event. And it's only a matter of time before she catches me in here. So stick around, grab a helmet. This is going to be the craziest build yet. This car is now 21 years old, and other than a radiator flush and some new plugs, everything else under this hood has never been touched. Which also means that the manifold bolts, which we're going to be tackling here in a little bit, haven't been moved in 21 years either. So I'm praying that these things come out without a fuss. Bone stock, this Corvette came from the factory with about 350 horsepower. My goal was to add about 100 horsepower to be relatively competitive at this event. Keep in mind, they won't tell us what other drivers and cars will be there, so it's a wild guess at this moment. So with the cam, headers, and exhaust upgrades, cooling mods to support those upgrades, and a custom tune, I think we're gonna get there, or close to it at least. Made a little bit of a mess, but we're doing pretty good. AC condenser, we're gonna leave this in here. We can kind of move this a little bit out of the way to get to everything we need there. But before we can actually start there, we need to go here to the steering rack. In order to access the front assembly, the harmonic balancer, all that fun stuff, steering rack actually has to come all the way out. So we got to worry about this. ABS module, we'll take a bolt or two off of this to be able to move this out of the way. But we do need to drain our power steering fluid because we got to unhook all this. That's going to make a lot more mess. On our tie rod, we have a hex head there in the center and then a nut on the outside. So we're going to knock that tie rod out, as well as disconnect our sway bar and then pull all that out. Fortunately, I replaced these tie rod ends about a year and a half ago, so these shouldn't be too seized on there, but as you guys know, these are always a pain in the butt. And no matter how confident I am, I always forget where these bolts go. So putting the bolts right back where they came from is one of the commandments of this garage. That and taking tons of pictures and riding on everything. Well, someone smelled power steering fluid and coolant and
Smell a car being worked on.
I could smell an open engine. I'm coming. Hi, Grammy.
Hey!
Welcome to the Mo Better Garage 1.0.
Are you gonna take out your,
Nope, condenser space.
really?
I'm not discharging that. One, it takes forever because you got to vacuum the system, but also refrigerant costs an arm and a leg now. All right, steering rack is coming out next. So I've gotten the two big bolts that hold the steering rack onto that cross member. Okay. Now I'm trying to tackle this little bolt that holds the steering shaft. You want to pull the belt off? This one has a tensioner.
Oh, you mean we don't get to cut it off?
You have a belt tensioner, so you don't need your gardening knife on this one. Oh, jeez.
The Rambo knife.
Do not hit.
There we go.
Yep, no gardening knife today. With the belt removed, you can finally get access to the bolt holding on the steering shaft to the steering rack. I also would like to publicly recognize that the turntables have turned. Look who's holding the flashlight.
Hold the flashlight! I can't see! Get your head out of here!
Okay, good. That came out.
I actually had Mom hold the flashlight for me the other day, so I had to like grab her hand and then move it toward me.
And that's a delicate situation. You have to be very careful. Now, one thing you have to do is lock that steering wheel, the clock spring. Yeah, I got the little dude from Quick Trick that holds it.
Oh.
It's getting hard to find parts for this thing. Companies are like, well, yeah, we discontinue that because no one's bought one in the year. With the steering shaft removed, we loosened up the 4 subframe bolts to drop the subframe down an inch. That way we can get the steering rack out. That's good right there. And I don't think it matters which way this thing comes out. It's a pain regardless of how you do it. Oh my goodness, this thing's becoming a money pit. Really starting to understand the whole race car money pit conundrum. If I'm gonna add or upgrade things, now is the time, because we're going all the way in. These cars apparently get a little warm on the track, both engine oil, power steering oil, as well as coolant. We've added an oil cooler kit to the mix, a power steering cooler. There wasn't a kit, so we kind of built our own off of a transmission cooler. We got that coming, and I've now just added a new radiator onto that list. It is absolutely dinky. Buy once, cry once, is that what they say? I think I am done pouring gasoline on money and just setting it ablaze. We'll see, because we're now diving into the motor. Alternator's coming off, water pump's coming out, AC belt's coming off, this little thingy-majig, and yeah, let's go. Having anybody else that like blinks like crazy and it stops working? Battery's fully charged. Why is it doing that? Anybody else? I don't get it. Water pump. All right, the lifetime table has now entered the chat. We need the thermostat off here. I believe it's in there. Oh, look how lovely that looks. All right, but this is what we need because I'm gonna go order an 180 degree thermostat. So basically what that means, when the water temperature gets to 180 degrees, this opens up and lets the coolant start flowing and moving through the radiator to keep it somewhat at that temperature. Fortunately, these aren't too crazy expensive. I'm gonna replace the water pump as well because that's probably 21 years old now. This is a NITTO competition tire, and since it fits, the only reasonable thing to do would be to make it into a race car. And she's never told me this verbally, but I can see it in her eyes. She wants one. Well, we're finally moving now, and our parts are beginning to arrive. My goodness, we have a lot going on this thing. So first off, from Texas Speed, Stage 2, TSP Camshaft, Kooks, Longtube headers, 1 7/8 inch. These are actually larger than the ones that we put on the 2020 Silverado. We have a new Harmonic dampener. Summit Racing, apparently these LS1 dampeners are prone to letting go. Melling Performance oil pump's gonna move oil quite a bit better through that LS1. Titanium dual valve springs. Next up, we're gonna be tackling that guy, Harmonic balancer. And the last time I tackled one of these guys, we had a lot of fun. How about now? You gotta surprise the bolt. You gotta count the 3. Ready? 1, 3. Oh, didn't work. This AC belt does not look healthy. Yeah, look at that. That belt is toast. All right, getting a little bit distracted here. This hasn't moved because we decided to go ahead and pull the coil packs off first because I'm gonna clean as much as I can off before we start disassembling the engine. Last thing I want is for the engine to be open and all this dirt, grime, and nastiness fall into the engine. But we pulled the coil packs off, started to wipe it down. I don't think the project we're tackling today requires us to actually remove the intake manifold, but given the amount of oil, I thought it was potentially the timing cover, but it's all the way up here. And the only thing I can suspect is maybe the valley cover up underneath the intake. It's maybe leaking. So we're here. I'm gonna go ahead and pull off the intake, see if we can figure out where this is coming from. There's a ton of buildup right here in the front of the valley cover, so potentially the very front is just slowly leaking. I'm gonna go ahead and replace the valley cover gasket. Hopefully that helps. You know, when you spend your life savings at summitracing.com, they send you a free hat on top of your free real truck hat. Yeah. Sorry, just checking out our goodies here.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, those are tools to hold the valves up. So you put that in the spark plug hole, connect that to the compressor, and it blows air into the chamber, which holds the valve up so it doesn't drop a valve while you're changing springs. And then our new Harmonic dampener, the one that doesn't explode like your 55 did apparently. I wanted to go transparently with American Racing headers, but they're built to order. I couldn't find anybody that had any in stock. So we went with Kooks headers. I've been super happy with the Kooks on the Silverado. It was the only thing we could get in time that weren't eBay headers.
There's no way I'd have been able to hammer this in to get it past on my truck.
These aren't eBay headers, so we shouldn't have to hammer them. I know you're gonna forget you got 2 hats on, so you can take that Summit one off. With all of our parts ready to go, it was time to start pulling apart the top of the engine. We're gonna replace the valley cover gasket as well as taking a look at the inside and see the condition of some of these things that we didn't expect to change, but we're gonna have to. All right, moment of truth, here we go. If this doesn't work, I'm taking this back. It's a 24. Quite a bit of play there. 15/16. Just a little bit tighter. And it's Harbor Freight, and that makes me feel good. Here goes nothing. Oh, she's off. Heck yeah.
You gotta pull it, right?
Yeah, right here. Righty and lefty.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's go. Mwah.
And with that bolt out, we used a 3-draw puller to slowly walk off that old Harmonic damper. This is the same puller we used on the Silverado. Righty and lefty weren't working today.
All right, 21-year-old factory harmonic balancer out. And probably a good thing we're doing this now before we go full send on this thing. Yeah, that little piece of rubber
Probably had one more good run in it.
probably had like 6 more horsepower in it, which we're gonna add. Yeah, it's probably a good thing we're changing this thing out. These things are known to get a little loosey-goosey. That would be awful in fiberglass, can you imagine? I'm getting some pineapple salt.
Stay salty, my friend. The bubbles are great.
Okay, I think these are a bunch of 10 millimeters. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, I think, underneath.
With the timing cover removed, there's 4 bolts holding on our oil pump, but there's also one dangerous 10mm bolt holding the pickup tube on the bottom side. Don't drop this. Good luck getting it out if you do.
Oil pump coming out. All right, with the oil pump out, we need to rotate the engine to get it to top dead center. That way we know when everything comes out, it goes right back in the same way at top dead center. But I'm gonna go ahead and pull all the spark plugs out, so turning this motor is a lot easier. Let's go! All right, Kapuna tools, do your thing. Feel the mana. Party foul. Oh, it's sucking in, so intake should be open. Intake's fully open. Stop. Or you just passed it? Okay. 2 more bumps. Right there. I don't have a timing chain dampener. Is that normal?
Not on the old ones. Is that for the cover?
No, that's for a tensioner.
That's a good mechanic. He had leftover bolts.
Well, this thing's never been opened before, or has it? I don't know. Let's go look at a couple of pictures, but I'm pretty sure this thing was a virgin before, but it might not be.
It's always nerve-wracking watching your dad, whose choice of tool is a BFH, delicately remove parts off your engine. Rocker arms are off on this side. Timing chain retainer plate is off. We're gonna leave this here for now. Plan is to try that trick where they spin the cam and it pushes the lifters up into their trays. Get the 2 pieces of wood that we picked up from Home Depot earlier today. Slide those in to keep the lifters from falling out. Still got a long way to go.
Rocker arms are out, push rods are out, spark plugs are out. Now we're gonna pull the camshaft and swap it with the Texas Speed Stage 2 camshaft. And we also need to replace our valve springs with our new dual valve spring setup from Texas Speed. Now, in order to replace these, we need to compress the spring down, pull out the keepers that are on the inside, and then pull the spring off. But what happens if you pull that off, these valves will just fall into the engine, and then your SOL. To keep that from happening, they have things like this. This is a hose. You put compressed air into that cylinder, which puts pressure up against the valves, which keeps the valves from falling in when you're swapping out those springs. This, the way it's built, is a pain in the ocole to try to get down there and thread it into the spark plug hole, so we are gonna pull the exhaust manifolds first. Let's go. Okay, 2 out of 3. Yeah. 3, 4, 3. These are the lower manifold bolts going into the primary cats. Now the new setup we have still retains cats. So my California friends, we're good. Although I'm pretty sure in California you can't do any of this. Good thing it's a dedicated race car.
Either a rag or a hammer. What do you got? Yeah, you might want to look at this, Chad. I think it needs a hammer.
You're gonna love that I'm gonna say this right now. Grab me the hammer.
Oh yeah, right here.
Also, how come the default accent to working on cars is straight up redneck?
You're not gonna go grab her and pull it on out.
Respect to Chevy and the Corvette team. Trucks, all the manifolds I've ever pulled off are not like that. 2 to 1, and then 2 down to 1. Part of the reason it sounds so good.
And with the manifolds off, we are just about done deconstructing this thing and about to flip that wrench the other way. When we went to pull out the knock sensors to pull the valve cover off, and well, 21-year-old heat cycle plastic did what it does and shattered, as well as the wiring harness shredding itself. So out of an abundance of caution, we picked up 2 new knock sensors and a new wiring harness to install with the new valley cover gasket. Next up, time to change out these old stock springs for Texas Speed's polished dual valve springs with titanium retainers. After screwing in the compressor hose onto that spark plug hole location, we keep compressed air going into the cylinder to hold up both the valves, exhaust, and intake while we change out the springs. I picked up this cheap LS valve spring tool off Amazon that works surprisingly well. You screw it down to the head at the rocker bolt location and it compresses both springs so you can pull the keepers out and then allow the springs to come free. You then do the same thing with the new TSP springs in reverse order. We've cleaned all these parts and let them soak in some fresh oil for a quick minute. And then you rinse and repeat 8 times across both heads, but I knew that it was a matter of time before I got caught in here. I'm actually kind of surprised it lasted this long.
What are you doing?
Oil change. Oh, your power steering pump was leaking. So we're just gonna go ahead and fix it while we're here. No, this is power steering pump. Your power steering pump was going out. You know how your steering, it was like making noise?
What'd you get? What'd you get?
Hour tops, and we're back together on the road. Because your old tires were really old. They're getting dry rotty, so we got the new tires. That's why the tires are off. I love you. Got it. Yeah, last time she walked into the garage looking like this, her truck ended up supercharged. Hey, Whipple. I'm just kidding, no. A Whipple on this thing would just blow apart the rear end. Like, there's a point where it's too much power. Ooh, that tasted sour coming out of my mouth. Too much power? Yeah. That didn't taste good. No. Oh, we're halfway there. Halfway done with the springs. We also have 16 rocker arms that we gotta basically disassemble and reassemble with more stronger parts.
With one side complete, and now personally mentally prepared to sleep on the couch for a few nights at minimum, we tackled the second side with all the new Texas Speed springs. From here, we figured it was time for the new camshaft.
55 minutes. Sorry, you guys don't know this, but we had a contest going with my wife. I said I could knock those out in 30 minutes, and we knocked it out in 55. Yeah! I only dropped one retainer once, and luckily it bounced out, so we're good. Texas Speed, baby. Stage 2 camshaft for the LS engine. A little bit more aggressive lope than the truck. This one I'm excited about because the recipe between the Longtube headers, stage 2 camshaft, and the exhaust we have going out the rear, I think is gonna make for one of the craziest and the best sounding car at the event we're going to in just a couple days. My wife knew we were taking her car to the event. I've already broke that news to her because it's a better track car. What she didn't know is I'm gonna make it the wildest sounding car at that event, period. I also checked, they don't have decibel limits at that track, because if they did, we'd be in trouble. There are the details. Don't ask me. All I really know is that top line there, TSP. That means Texas Speed. This is the pinnacle. Don't worry guys, I know what I'm doing. I make YouTube videos. Here, I'll hand you this because this doesn't matter anymore.
Oh, so I can drop it like you did last one?
Yeah. I'm looking at the cam bearings, I know I wasn't supposed to. Here we go! If I go down, I'm saving this, not me. Just lather it up. First couple anyways. Yep, there's a secret. A little bit of Cheeto dust. Keep that Cheetle on there, the fingerprint. Perfect, ready to go in.
The chip that just makes a mess.
That's part of their brand positioning. They love it. Trust me, I know a guy. The first couple in, and then put more assembly lube on it. Just tap it in. Tap, tap, tap lube. Got the entire weight of the camshaft. There we are. All right. Oh, my back is shot again. There we go. Ooh. Woo! High five. Pretty much done. Like 5 more minutes. We're firing this thing up. This is the most exciting part of the project. You ready? It's when you turn it from left to right, because it's time to reassemble. And look at Mom. Look at that steady hold on the camera. I'm so proud of Mother. All right, Sarge. Let me get this off. High five. Good job today. Heck yeah.
That was a lot of work.
Camshaft it. Oh, let's pull these out. So, really good move on oiling these up.
I've never seen this done before. I don't think you can do that in the old motors.
Probably not. I'm so impressed with our camera lady. So once the boys are in bed, we're up for a late night tonight. We're burning the midnight oil. Enjoy the night doing V8 stuff. All right, we didn't go over the specs on the camshaft, and just for my future reference, yeah, there you go. But now we gotta figure out the Trunnion Upgrade. Never done that before, but I heard it's all the jazz. The stock rocker arms, basically just the way they're built, articulation-wise, they kind of have a max and a min. The Trunnion Upgrade we're about to put on here is gonna eliminate that, but also prevents any implosion and needle bearings going throughout your engine and destroying it. So what we have is Texas Speed's Trunnion Upgrade Kit, as well as Summit Racing installation tool. This tool for Summit Racing, we have this thingy-majig. We're gonna put it on that thingy-majig and put it within this thingy-majig in my Harbor Freight vise. So the way that this is built, this actually sits perfectly right at the edge. Just gonna take a little bit more force. There we go. That pops out. That is not, that's what you don't want running around your engine. So this is now trash. This we're gonna clean up and we reuse this. There we go, excuse the nasty fingers, but there is one of our new ones from Texas Speed. Assembly lube on here. One of the supplied tools from Summit. This slides on here. An alignment ring. And then this guy from earlier, which helped press out the bearing. That'll slide here. And then our rocker arm over the alignment, and then we're gonna press. There we are. New Trunnion, a bit more tricky. So we have the bearing just kind of sitting in place. And we have this washer, which is gonna help guide this bearing into place. So that's good. Take our little keepers here.
Here we go, 11:40 p.m. Now that we figured out how to install the Trunnion kit, we got to do it 15 more times for all the rockers. It's not a hard job, just takes time and patience. Question is, how much time?
Trunnion kit upgrade completed. All 16 rockers are complete. All 8 cylinders ready to go. And we nailed that Trunnion upgrade at 1:11 a.m. Cletus and crew keeping us company. Perfectly nailed our deadline of midnight. Good night. Well, this came out last night and it's not light. So we are gonna be shedding quite a lot of weight with this swap, which is good because we're adding weight with additional cooling capacities. So we got 1 7/8 inch long tube headers, cats, X-pipe with 3-inch tubing. Oh, this is so cool. I love it. That is gonna sound amazing. I cannot wait to hear it in conjunction with the Stage 2 camshaft and everything else we're doing on this car, because going from that to that, I still think is cool. And I will think is cool for the rest of my life. So this is coming out, this is going in, and this is my favorite electrolyte beverage. And it's called Element. Guys, this world of YouTube that I live in seems to be becoming more and more competitive every single year, and becoming more and more difficult to create content that's both exciting and engaging for you guys, but also exciting for me to produce and create. And that's where sponsors like Element come into play. Not only to help me stay afloat financially, but also help me physically as well, push through the very physical content that I have knowingly thrown myself into. Stuff like this. And Element's out there doing the same thing on their end for us customers, continuing to bring new and exciting flavors like this lemonade salt that they've now launched permanently, mostly for me, because I love it. Now, Element is an electrolyte drink born from the growing body of research revealing that optimal health outcomes occur at sodium levels 2 to 3 times government recommendations. Each of the servings delivers a science-backed dose of electrolytes, 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium. And it's one of those drinks that just seems to hit the spot every time. Element has been my cheat code to staying hydrated. And I'm not new to this stuff. I've been drinking Element for well over a year now. And I've noticed anytime I'm feeling cloudy, short, or experiencing muscle cramps, 99% of the time, it's hydration related, and Element has been my solution to that every single time. You can guys try it out for yourself at drinkelement.com/LoneStar, and you can get yourself a free Element sample pack with any purchase. And as always, there's a risk to that purchase. If you guys don't like it, give it to a salty friend and they return your order, no questions asked. Big thank you to Element for the continued support on the channel and being an awesome sponsor. Get the surface as clean as I can get it. Valley cover gasket only goes on one way. We got our new gaskets in the valley cover that sit around the O2 sensor. All right, we're gonna torque these down to 18 foot-pounds. Don't use me as a how-to guide. I have no idea what I'm doing. But the first pass, we're gonna do about 10 foot-pounds, and then we'll go back for the full 18. Basically work inside and then work outward to make sure that gasket gets sealed down real nice. Valley cover's on. So here are our 2 knock sensors. All right, we're about ready to get the rocker arms reinstalled. One thing that I did on the truck that actually started to help me was mark the bolts that I went ahead and torqued to specs. I go and mark it with a little paint pen because between filming these clips, just taking my time with this, I forget which bolts that I torqued and what I didn't. So this is a helpful reference. And what I also did was start marking it onto the surface, which it clamps down to, because if this ever starts backing out, this should never back out. But if it does, I'll be able to see that that bolt turned because the paint mark would have moved. If you're constantly tearing into the engine, probably not the best thing, but I'm hoping I never see the inside of this engine again in the near future. So before rockers, we're gonna get everything back to top dead center, lined up, get our camera retainer plate on there, mount it up, torque the spec, and then our sprocket back on, make sure we're lined up. Once that's on there, lock it all in place. Sprocket's on, we are lined up, top, dead, center. So we have this mark here, we are in line. Pulling off our blue O-ring here, this color does actually matter. Look at the instructions. There is multiple pressure springs that you can actually put into this Melling oil pump made in the USA. Yes, you do have a standard pressure, a copo pressure, which I can imagine is just very high pressure, as well as the one that comes standard, which is the red spring already pre-installed. We double checked the torque spec on this, so that's good. The only question is, what O-ring do we go with? We have a black and a green one. Looking at the instructions here, if you have a pickup tube that has 0.84 inches at the base, 0.87 at the very top, either one, you're gonna be going with the green. If your pickup tube is 0.87 inches at the bottom and at the top, and or you have the blue O-ring, you're going with the black one. A little bit of oil on our new O-ring. So we gotta get this on the pickup tube and then on this.
Now that I've got the oil pump on and torqued down, it's time to start reassembling our rocker, starting with our push rods. We've had these things soaking in oil for some time. We just add a little dab of assembly lube at the top and then stick that in towards the lifters. Press it down so you hear a little click.
All right, time for our rocker arms. Now remember, we just finished our trunnion kit install, so we do have much more articulation.
This was a little bit of a learning experience. There were so many conflicting directions on how to torque these rockers down correctly, so I just turned the motor over until each of the cylinders, one by one, were at top dead center. Both the valves were closed, and then we torqued those rockers down and moved on to the next one. Worked out good.
You know, pros and cons for that taking forever to figure out. It took so long that my chain guide actually came in the mail. That's how long it took. So this is going to be inserted below the camshaft sprocket, which is going to eliminate any timing chain flop, slop, or like whiplash happening. It's a very high quality plastic. $49 for this. At this point, I'm so far into this thing, I'm going to spend just a little bit extra money to try to prevent any early exits. Early exits. We're moving along. Valve cover's back on. We're ready to start reassembling all this mess. So this front timing cover has a gasket, but the problem is at the very bottom, that gasket where it meets the bottom of the timing cover is actually the oil pan gasket, and that gasket is 21 years old. And at the very corners, it has a tendency to weep out or leak oil. So what we're gonna do actually tomorrow morning when everything opens up, because once again, the middle of the night, we're gonna get some RTV and put a dot of RTV at both base corners, and then we can reassemble the timing cover, get the intake back on, and start thinking about this reassembly. Plugs are in, torqued down, but we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. I verified fitment. The header goes in from the bottom. Looks amazing, but on the headers, we have one thing to accomplish before we go put them in. And before the header gets bolted in, we have another box we actually need to install before that, because that has to deal with the oil filter location, because we are in fact putting an oil cooler, and because it is going to be a track car, which just feels weird to think about. I'm very excited about it. There's going to be a lot of heat running through these headers, and there's a lot of delicate stuff in that fiberglass box that they call an engine bay, and we're going to try to keep the heat down with design engineering header wrap. We're going to wrap our headers. Heck yeah. Proud of that wrap. Whew. Now we gotta fold this up, put the tie on it, and then next up, oil cooler. All right, this one I can show you. I'm kind of proud of this one. There we go. Titanium wrapped 1 7/8 inch Kooks Longtube header. It's a shame really covering up the beautiful headers they are, but we're going for function over form for once in my life. But yeah, headers wrapped, both of them done. I'm itchy as heck, but we need to get changed real quick because my wife's got her last cross-country meet she's coaching here in 30 minutes. So I'm gonna run to that. We'll be back tonight for another late night. Now we could throw our headers in and keep moving, but it's easier to install this mess underneath without headers on. And what this is Improved Racing's oil cooler kit for the C5 Corvette. It has these massive 10AN lines, and actually what I like about this kit, it comes with a thermostat where it can actually allow the engine to heat up to normal operating temperature without running everything through the cooler. If you're just daily driving, you're not tearing up your engine driving with it. Too cool.
We got rid of the factory EGR system, so we no longer need this big old air pump that sits in the front bumper. Plus, our oil cooler lines need to route this way to get in front of the condenser.
Air pump out.
Now this oil cooler thermostat will bypass our oil cooler until the oil temperature reaches 180 degrees, allowing it to really run at operating temperature. And it mounts in right above where our oil filter is. Now with the thermostat in and our lines mocked up, it was time to put the headers in. And I am having so much fun with this. They're fairly heavy, and trying to lift them up from the bottom all while pulling them from the top was a headache doing solo, and I had to remove a few ground straps to get them in, which I'll come to learn here in a moment the hard way that ground straps on these C5 Corvettes are very delicate and apparently really important. On the driver's side, I wasn't able to snake past the starter wires, and when I went to remove them for some more room, the post snapped right off the solenoid. Lovely.
Well, wasn't planning on replacing a starter today. I guess we are. Starter replacement coming up.
This financial money pit just keeps on getting bigger, but we're past the point of no return now. Exhaust going in. We're just gonna mock it up for now as we have a few more things to button up before we torque everything down for good.
Man, these things look serious. That looks so cool. All right, headers are in, torqued down. We also have the cats bolted in, torqued down, running through the X-pipe, and then the rest of the exhaust from X-pipe back, it's just kind of mocked up and just held in place. We gotta get this stuff back together. So we should move fairly quickly now. We've run our hoses, see them here, for our oil cooler running to the front. I can't bolt it in just yet because I need the radiator, condenser, everything where it needs to be. And speaking of radiators, we got our big boy radiator in a couple hours ago. So good timing on a lot of things. Oh, we also got a new one of these that just arrived. It's going back together. Let's get it back together.
Sweet like wine, got honey on her tongue. One hand on the bottle, she got one hand on the gun.
this part's pretty fun. We got the Harmonic damper in the oven. Wifey's not home, so we're okay there. We have a press tool. So we have ball bearing, a funky looking washer, same thing on the other side. And we have this, which is gonna screw into the crank. And these, as you spin it, allow this to spin freely and press in our Harmonic damper. And then we're gonna put the old bolt in, torque it to 245 foot-pounds. This is always fun. Now, putting the damper in the oven isn't 100% necessary, but it does expand the bore ever so slightly, so pressing this on becomes a little bit easier. Plus, it gives your dinner a nice metallic aftertaste. It's a little chef's secret. I'm sleeping on the couch already, guys. Come on. All right, here we go. 240 pounds. Come on, baby. It looks like it lines up perfect. So Summit Racing, this is an SPCI, whatever the certification is for racing, certified damper. So eventually when we make this into a 2,000 horsepower drag racing monster, I'm just kidding. Well, maybe. That's on, it's actually the final bolt on there, torqued down, and we get the water pump on and start figuring out how to get this steering rack and radiator and yeah. But wait, look at this. A beefy radiator versus what came out of this thing. So that should definitely help in the cooling department because this thing was always hot. Always hot. Most because of the stock GM emissions shenanigans. All right, we're gonna go 37 foot-pounds, and then we gotta turn it after that 140 degrees. And I'm truly starting to understand the snowball of this niche that I've dove headfirst into, and I love it. But I'm trying to be mindful with what we're spending on this project. I have a very specific amount that I can spend prior to year ends in creating content for you guys and building this type of stuff. But yeah, this thing snowballed really quickly. A Texas speed cam, trunnion kit, springs, and a few gaskets. It's not crazy expensive. But then while you're in there, you replace the balancer, and then you put Longtube headers on it, and then you put a next pipe, and you need a new starter. Then you realize your coolant reservoir's cracked, and you want to upgrade the radiator because your stock one's... This snowballed to a very expensive project very quickly, and I really hope you guys are enjoying this because I love doing this, and I want to do more of it, but it really only depends on if you guys will watch the content. The more you guys engage with this, hit that like button, leave some comments and thoughts below on what we're doing here. We can bring more of this. Yeah, this is fun. I love this. Couldn't be happier doing this stuff.
Don't play with bad girls. Good boys stay away from them bad girls. Them bad girls. The good ones just can't
293 foot-pounds. We fought the good fight. Steering rack is in. I'm not even gonna show you guys that on camera, but there you go. Steering rack's back in, slight change of plans. I initially had planned to build my own power steering cooler system. What I think I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to eliminate multiple fluid issues. So I'm gonna do one thing at a time. So I'm gonna do oil cooler first, and when we run on this track, we'll see what happens in terms of the power steering fluid. I don't think we're gonna be running for long enough for it to really overheat, but if it does, then we'll go into step 2, which would be to do the power steering cooler. So we have the stock cooler loop, I think they call it here, which is kind of inadequate, to be honest, but it's better than nothing. What's up, Sarge?
Hey, did you start that thing?
Nope, not yet. I'm fighting this radiator.
Oh, put it back in?
Yeah, well, getting...
Oh, you got the big one, that's right, the oversized.
I would guess an hour away from fire
Oh,
up.
really? Okay, I want to be there when you do it.
Oh, don't act surprised, because then that makes me question my hour. I have to have this thing start up tonight.
Oh, man.
I gotta finish out this video for, yeah.
Gee, I can't believe you got it all back together. I saw the quick video. Everything was in. I want to be there. I want to hear that thing crank up. All right, well, I'm going to finish up what I'm working on and head over to your place then.
Awesome. We got soccer practice tonight too, just FYI.
And are you going to try to crank it up before you go to soccer practice?
Yes. In the next hour. In the next hour. But look at the size difference. You and the guy she said don't worry about. hear something. Nope. Alright, where'd it go? Nah, don't ask me. I just work here. Oh, there you go. It's a righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Never would have thought that.
With the fluids topped off and all over the floor, the plan was to crank the starter to try and drive a little bit of oil pressure before we actually start this thing up for the first time. So we removed all 8 spark plugs to help the starter turn over a little bit easier. Let's see how it goes.
All right, should we say a quick prayer or something? All right, if you hear anything, raise your hand. Okay, 3, 2, 1. All right, here we go again. We're probably gonna need a quart here in a minute, but touch of the dipstick, that's plenty. All right. Three, 4, 5. We're so close, guys. I can taste it. Maybe that's just a... No, that's coolant.
With our oil pump primed, I think, and our spark plugs back in, we're ready for our first official fire.
All right. Fuel pump. Re-engaged. Pull back. Fire in a hole.
Nothing. But something felt wrong.
Say that started with blood. So, car didn't start last night. And it got me thinking. And then I remembered. Ground straps in this car are kind of important. I took off the ground strap, that way I could route the header up and in its place, and I didn't reconnect that ground strap. So that one's disconnected, this one's loose, and the fact that it didn't start last night actually worked out for the better. I was able to go grab some power steering fluid this morning, got some more coolant, and we also got a base tune from the Mr. Matt Sanford. Thank you, sir. I told him I was gonna dive into this thing and try and tune it myself, and asked if he had like an old LS tune file with the stage 2 cam. He was like, let me just build a starting place for you. So Matt, thank you. Fluids going in, tune file going in, ground straps being strapped down. And then we're probably gonna wait till tonight to start this thing up for the first time because Sarge didn't come over after work. So when he gets here, we'll be able to experience this first start together once those ground straps are on. I tell you, this new radiator definitely increased the capacity on the coolant side. Oh, man, now. I'm 6 feet from the...
With the fresh power steering fluid in, we turned that wheel lock to lock about 20 times, trying to flush out all the air and get the fluid through the system.
All right, we're about there, guys. Sarge is over. We're ready for our first fire. We were just admiring how clean the engine is. It does look brand new. Clean this a little more. Yeah. It's been a lot of time, a lot of rags sacrificed on this project, so we're gonna start these guys up just in case it gets a little bit thematic. Hopefully it doesn't. You heard it prime this time, didn't you?
Yeah, and it's not going over there.
That was.
Didn't hear the fuel pump.
That's what I was excited about, is actually hearing the fuel pump prime.
Side of the house when she's on the phone.
Oh, I thought my kids were here, that's why. All right, you ready?
Yep.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Oil pressure's good. Oil pressure's good. Charge system fault. I don't understand that. I'm about to dig into that, why that's there.
Oh, that sounds so good.
54 PSI. We've got lots of oil pressure.
That's so good.
Matt kills it with these tunes.
Hey, you're not the fastest out there. You got the best sound.
It's gonna sound the best.
It's got a lot.
We got plenty of coolant running through.
You got that little one.
Oh, wait till it idles down. It's still hot.
That is the sound that everybody's trying to get right there. We're rolling.
Let's go! good? What do you think of the race car? Good. They sound good?
Survive! A true Frankenstein story, right?
I think it earned its name, Kolohe.
Yeah.
I think Kolohe is his name.
Yeah.
Kolohe is rascal. This thing is a complete rascal. I think we're naming it Kolohe.
I'm gonna take it to school tomorrow.
Just leave the parking lot sideways.
Oh my goodness, sounds so good, guys. That's gonna end it for today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and joining us in this crazy build. There's more coming soon because we're diving right back into this. We'll catch you guys in a few days for that next video. Until the day comes, as always, y'all take care. We hope